Episode 2 begins with a shocking scene of the men in red burning large gift boxes containing the bodies of those that were killed. From one of the boxes, a hand emerges. After pushing the hand back inside, a guard nails the box shut. Back in the fundamental room, players sit in obscurity peacefully, some crying unobtrusively. Gihun says thanks to Sang-woo and Ali for helping him during the round of red light, green light. Out of nowhere, the lights come on and the guards stroll in, declaring the number of players dispensed with in the first round. There's a disturbance for certain contenders, asking the guards to release them. They're reminded, notwithstanding, that the agreement they marked restricts anybody from leaving the game. Yet Sang-woo remembers something different. The third clause states that if most of the players choose to stop the game, they would all be able to get back, though flat broke. Gi-hun votes to leave, as do Ali and Deok-soo. Sang-woo, despite being the one that proposed the vote, chooses to stay, raising some red flags in Gi-hun's mind. The vote reaches a tie and it comes down to player 1 to make the final call. He chooses to leave, a surprising decision considering his terminal brain tumor and just how unfazed he was by the people dropping dead around him in the first game. After the final vote is cast, the players are thrown back in the street and we get a glimpse at the lives of some of Squid Game's main characters. While Gi-hun and Sejek are off to a rough start due to the nature of their first encounter before the game, Sang-woo lends his phone to Ali and gives him money to go home. Meanwhile, Gi-hun tries to tell the police what happened, but to no avail. The officers laugh him off, and when they try to call the number behind Gi-hun's card, a random woman picks up. He then decides to go home, but his mother is nowhere to be found. He goes looking for her at the street market, where he runs into Sang-woo spying on his mother's fish shop. The two chat for a while and Sang-woo reveals that he owes a lot more money than the guards from the game had announced. Worst of all, he has used his mother's own house and shop as collateral for his bad investments. The conversation is cut short by a phone call informing Gi-hun that his mother is in the hospital. Severely diabetic, she needs immediate surgery in order not to lose her feet. Gi-hun insists for her to have the surgery, but she refuses. Besides, she says she doesn't even have insurance anymore since Gi-hun cancelled it and used up the money. In other parts of Seoul, Sejek, Ali and Deok-soo have their own problems to deal with. Left in an orphanage, Sejek's younger brother Chal asks when they will finally live together as a family. She leaves the orphanage and goes in search of the man she hired to bring her mother over from North Korea in a sketchy place with an even sketchier name: Southern Men, Northern Women. Sejek finds out her mother was arrested in China and the man demands more money to help her out. Back at the factory where he used to work, Ali asks his former boss for his severance payment. Without a salary or any other form of compensation, he wasn't able to treat his work-related injuries and lost 2 of his fingers. Despite having cash coming out of an envelope on his desk, Ali's boss tells him he just doesn't have any money to pay him. On the factory floor, Ali attacks his former boss and pushes him into one of the machines, crushing the man's fingers. He takes the cash envelope and leaves, telling his wife to go back with their son to Pakistan, and that he will meet them later once he has the money. The least sympathetic of all is Deok-soo's backstory, a crime boss that has stolen money from his higher-ups. He tries to convince one of his former henchmen to help him organize a heist on the game station. Alas, the henchman has already secured himself a nice paycheck in exchange for turning Deok-soo to the Filipino organization he owes money to. Deok-soo kills the henchman and manages to escape by throwing himself off a bridge into the Han River. Back at the Sangmyeon-dong street market, Sang-woo's mother receives a call from her son telling her he's in the United States for business. She hangs up when a customer arrives at the shop asking for Squid. While she's boasting about how amazing her son is, 2 police officers walk in looking for Sang-woo. They inform her that he's being charged with multiple financial crimes and is currently on the run. In his apartment, Sang-woo sits inside the bathtub, fully dressed and surrounded by empty bottles, when someone rings his doorbell insistently. When he gets to the door, a business card is passed underneath it with 3 geometric symbols on the front and a date, a time and a location on the back. The same card is found by Gi-hun at his door, but not before he runs out of options for money and has a chance encounter with player 1. The 2 of them meet outside a convenience store and chat while drinking and eating uncooked ramen. Player 1 tells Gi-hun he has decided to go back into the game because he doesn't want to sit around waiting for death to come. The following day, Gi-hun goes looking for his ex-wife in the hope that she would be willing to help him. But it's her new husband that offers him the money with the condition that he never comes looking for his daughter again. Gihun punches the man and throws the money at him, running off after he realizes Ga-young is at the doorstep looking sadly at her dad. When he gets home, he's approached by a cop that briefly saw him at the police station. The officer introduces himself as Jun-ho and explains that he's looking for his missing brother, who had a card very similar to the one Gihun had at the police station in his possessions. Gihun refuses to help, and before going inside sees the card caught between the door and the door frame. The final scene of episode 2 is a montage of Gihun, Seobuk, Sang-woo, Ali, Daksu and Player 1 waiting on the street at night, entering the cars that we now know are taking them to the game station, one of them followed closely by Junyo. Thanks for watching.